Hello, everyone. Welcome to History with Hersafat. I'm your host, Chris, aka Hersafat. Today on the podcast, we'll be continuing our discussion of what it's like to be a working individual in the United States and the various highs and lows that come with that. The views shared on this podcast come from your everyday, ordinary people. My hope is that it'll give unique perspective on history. Future podcasts are going to be doing the years 1971 and 72, the years in review. And for those that listen to our podcast via Spotify, Apple, or Spreaker, we also have a YouTube channel showcasing a number of top notch videos highlighting some borderline funny moments from our podcast for your viewing pleasure. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. With us once again, we have Brad and Aaron. Yay!
Hello.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Today we will be talking with Aaron and asking him about his work history and the various highs and lows he's experienced in that. Um, we don't have any weird news. We just jump straight into these episodes here. So, hello, Aaron. First thing I'm going to ask you, if you remember, what was your first job? Your title, how long you worked there, your wage, salary, all that jazz.
Well, like some like others on this podcast, I started off at Burger King in Wanata, where I
Woo!
live. Yeah, yes. Brad knows very well. Um, I believe it was 5.25 an hour.
Oh my God.
Um, I believe, yeah. And then I was in the cooking section. I was basically, a line cook. I had to you know, be in the shadow of Brad and his excellence. So
I was going to
I was
say,
just,
were you
yeah.
Yeah,
as
I
good as
remember.
him? Because he says he was
No,
the best.
no. Oh, no. I did not.
I
No,
was
no.
I told Aaron what to do all the time, basically. Like Aaron, drop a thing of chicken patties. Aaron, we need three things of hamburgers through the
Yeah.
boiler, or
What was that
we need
called?
fries down.
It
What was
was
what
like
called?
it wasn't support, but basically it was like support. It was like, hey, I need this dropped. I need fries.
Yeah,
Need to
you
make
were
a chicken
my
sandwich.
you were my assistant.
Yeah.
You kept
Assistant
you
to the
kept me
Chef
chef.
assistant, yeah.
you kept me stocked up on everything,
Right, the sous
basically.
chef, yeah.
Yeah,
You're a
because
stock
they
boy.
never they never put you on cashier or drive through, right? Or did they?
I'll get into that later, but
Oh, okay, okay.
I did not understand the cash registers. That was something
Yet they
I
were
did
a
not
pain in the
understand. Like,
ass.
how do you make a meal large? You have to hit this button, this button, this button. I'm like, huh? Why do I have to hit medium to make it a large? I was so confused.
God, and they were all analog buttons
Yeah,
too.
exactly. Yeah.
If you
But yeah,
fuck
I'll
up,
get onto it.
you'd have to hit like delete, 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 delete,
Right.
delete, and
It
then
it it blew
redo
my
it. And
mind. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
I'm sure now they have touch screens and it's all
Oh
super
yeah.
intuitive.
But yeah, go on. But yeah, that's
Okay.
basically my first job was, the Burger King, being a assistant to the chef, and then when and then like during like non-peak times, I would be on the main board. But most of the time it was like when it's
Gotcha.
rush, it was Brad or someone else that was more advanced. But yeah.
Do you have any your memories, your first memories from your first day, your first time meeting someone from work that wasn't your brother or Amber? I think she worked there too, didn't she?
Yeah. At one time, we all three siblings worked there.
Yes, we ran that fucking
Was a
We
place.
basically
family-owned business.
Yeah,
family-owned
it
business at
was
that
at
point.
that point. Yep.
Um, I remember walking in and like Brad had and everyone else, we met Big John, John Rao, and he was just like a guy was like, oh hey, first job, I don't know what to expect or anything, so he was just like, hey, we'll probably have you start out of the kitchen. I can walk around, meet everyone like Sylvia and other
Hmm.
people I went to high school with, manager Matt, all those people, and like, oh yeah, here you go, and yeah, it was very welcoming, and then it's like I don't know what I'm doing, so but yeah, it was good.
That's good. I remember that you guys had talked about him before. Big John, you said? I remember that guy vaguely, vaguely. But do you have like a red face, like really red all the time? Or is it
Oh,
just me? Is it
Ooh.
because he was a big guy? Maybe. Brad said he was kind of a jerk. Do you have any clarification on that?
he was very aggressive towards cleanliness. He didn't really care about the numbers, like the book stuff that much, but he was very a big component of having everything clean. So like any second, like I just got done with like making something like, hey, we just go back here and clean this up a little bit. Like here, clean this. Can you refill the cleaning bucket. So he was very heavy on clean, but when you didn't do it in a prompt way, he got a little feisty with you. So,
Mm, you got mad about it. All right. All right. Well, do you have anything that you remember you struggled with at work? I remember you said you mentioned the register, or you mentioned the
oh
register.
God, the registers.
Yeah.
And then the rush is still overwhelmed me because I would make like a lot of people with their nitpicking, like, oh, no pickles, extra mayo, like quadruple bacon, whatever they wanted, I would get them all mixed up in my head. I'm like, oh crap, I made this one incorrectly. I put no pickles and extra bacon on this one. And so it was like when it was like a lot of like fine-tuned like orders like that, it
Yeah.
was just like, oh God, stress. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Is there anything that came easy to you at work? Maybe something that made you feel like, yeah, I'm good at my job, that sort of thing. Or was it all difficult?
I mean, I kind of enjoyed doing prep, so
Yeah.
I like doing prep, and besides the onions like hurting my face, making me cry, but yeah, and then I did enjoy the closing when we would deep clean, we would take apart the broiler. And like, oh, this is easy. Like, dunk it into an acid bath and like clean, and then run the grease out. All the closing stuff seemed pretty easy. So yeah, that came easily for me.
Oh
What
yeah,
was the
the
hardest
acid bath.
It
acid bath?
was. You remember the
Yeah,
vat?
I remember. Oh yeah. What are the
You never put
cleaning?
water in the
What?
deep fryer?
I did not. I know others have.
Brad.
Um, I
Yeah.
believe I tried it. I tried something when we had to change the fryer out at the end of the day. Like I threw a tomato or something in there to see what happened.
What was the out of the jobs that you've had, you have one that you consider the hardest? What was the hardest? Could be physically, mentally, could be both. You have like a hardest job that you can remember. For me, mine was
Um. Oh.
millwrights. Brad was what was it? You were a telemarketer. That was it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that fucking sucked.
Yeah.
This is a very low key job that I haven't really told many people, but straight out of college, I was an insurance agent for Aflac.
Oh yeah,
Oh
that's usually how it
yeah,
goes.
I remember that.
I can't talk to people. Like I am not a salesman. I don't talk very much. Therefore, I am not very confidence inspiring when I talk,
Yeah.
but I can't stand these people. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, how is your bit?" Like, so I went through the whole shebang. I worked out of Madisonville, Kentucky. At the time, I was living in Henderson, Kentucky, just over the border from Evansville, on the southern part of Indiana. And you're just like, okay, here, you learn. Did the tests to become an agent, and no problem because I just fresh out of school, I can do it, no problem.
Right. Yeah.
But then going around and like almost cold calling businesses and like trying to have like interviews and like talking to people like, hey, why this supplemental insurance product is like what you need to help your employees. They're like, fuck you, get fuck, basically just,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of my store
That's
before I shoot you.
that's exactly what happened with me for telemarketing. I remember
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
sell supplemental insurance to people,
yeah.
and it was a lot of fuck yous and hang-ups.
It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah, I
people
did
don't
get.
like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Not to go on a tangent here, but I did get one sale during my time, and it was a trash company based out of some podunk town in Kentucky. Basically, and I did the whole presentation. I had my manager at the time with me. Like five people signed up. I got like $1,000 commission. Kind of thing. I'm like, okay, first sale, and I didn't do anything else after that. I couldn't. I was basically not able to live because I just wasn't making enough money, and so. But
It's
yeah,
all based off sales, right?
yeah, all based on commission to sales, and then yeah,
And that was the best you did was $1,000 then. That was
yeah,
a
it was like $1,000. Yeah.
jeez. Yeah,
Well,
I mean that's not any. It's not
yeah, and then
nothing.
other people, for perspective, other people in the out of that office hit like a major factory, and they just made like 16 grand.
Jeez.
Just on one, but that was like 400 people.
Right.
It was but yeah, that was probably one of the worst in general times. So I was like, what am I gonna do? Straight out of college, and I need
Right.
a job.
Yeah.
So,
No,
but
that's
yeah.
usually how a lot of people straight out of college will working in the insurance industries, like an insurance salesman or something. What was the easiest job you had? One where you're just like, this is a breeze. I love this. A lot of people like just love
Um.
like the easiest, funnest job you had.
Oh, by far, it was when I was doing the morning show for the Evansville station. That was basically the job, a few jobs after I got out of the insurance game.
Mm.
Morning show at Evansville was probably one of my favorite times because the crew around me was so funny,
Yeah.
so vile. Um, our director Chris was this older guy that didn't give just two shits. Like it was just so funny, and having a morning show that's already laid back. Um, I met a lot of people I know now there. Just, just like one of my favorite things was miking up musical guests.
Oh yeah.
We're doing that, and then we had like people coming on from restaurants, talk about their restaurants, stuff like that. And then at one time we always had a zoo person from the Metzger Zoo, I think it was, something like that. And I was telling the director to tell the producer, like, hey, that turtle is named like Fred or something. Like, can you make a lower third? I was like, bet. And then he's like, okay. He's like, all right, I made it. And I was on camera. Most of the time I would be running camera for the morning show and like
Yeah.
doing like PA work. And so he's like, all right, camera one, zoom in that turtle so we can put that super in. So we zoomed in on its face. And we took it to the air and we put a lower third that said Fred Turtle.
Is that the
Uh,
same show you did you actually appeared on the morning show and did like the ice cream sandwich thing?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's still
I
on your
should
YouTube.
Yes, I
yeah. Well, I should say I forgot to I skipped ahead here because I do first job and then I do
oh no.
current job,
Oh,
which
okay.
would help explain what you just talked about.
Yeah. Um,
That's my bad. Your
oh, don't
current
worry.
job right now and
I
how you got
Fine.
involved in this. Go on.
Sure. Well, as I mentioned, I'm out of becoming an insurance agent. I finally got a, somewhat related job to my degree from college in television. Currently, it is called, I run Master Control out of a hub for Scripps Media. And I can name
Okay.
drop, I don't care. No, basically, um, we run about 50 stations remotely out of that hub for the entire company. The entire company's uh, master control is run through us. So basically, my day to day is I basically am quality assurance, making sure everything that's going on in the air is correct, sounds good, looks good. It is not, visually disgusting or anything like that. Which some programming I believe is visually disgusting just because it's bad. But
Hmm. Sure.
um, so basically, I am also making sure I'm prepping the next day's events, making sure all the commercials are in, programming is in, network feeds are all set up in case of like some random stuff. Dealing with overrun of sports, dealing with sports for all the local affiliates I'm running. So basically, I am like, kind of like the last. They always called it the last line of defense, because basically all the station's output is coming to me to look at and quality check before it goes out over the air, for everyone to see. So that basically what I do now.
Nice, nice. So, your degree at college was communications, I assume, right?
Yeah, I actually was a little overachiever for some reason, and so I got a bachelor's degree in radio and television broadcasting. But then during college, I really liked writing commercials and shooting commercials. So then I picked up a second bachelor's degree in advertising and PR. But then I needed to fill the electives for that, so I picked up a minor in graphic design to fill the
Gotcha.
minor requires. So yeah.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, that's really good. We can go back. What was the best job that you had you've ever? Was that would be your morning job then, the
Oh
morning
yeah,
show?
that when I was working in the morning show, yeah, that
Yeah.
the group of people, the experiences, and then later on, um, we picked up locally produced football games, and since I worked like 4 a.m. to noon, we would be the first ones to be able to volunteer for that or get paid for that, and so we would run live sports like cameras, whole setup breakdown out of a live truck. So
Oh,
that was a
nice.
lot of really fun to do that, especially with that same crew from the morning show. So it's just as vile and just the headset chatter makes the day go by. It's just like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
my God.
How
Try
long
not
were
to
your
laugh.
days? Like 8 hours, 12 hours?
Yeah, 8 hour days for that. But then if I did the sports on Friday night, I would run from like setup would be like 5 to like 11 p.m.
Brad mentioned that you had a video you said of you on TV actually on the morning show. I think I remember seeing this video. You were making an ice cream sandwich, really fattening, and like if you eat this, you might have a heart attack, sort of like food, but look delicious. I'm gonna be honest with you. Do you still have that?
I do, but it's in private because I will not show anyone it.
Oh,
It's
Oh,
like one of those things like, I was used to being behind the camera and it
are
was
you
just,
sure? Because I just watched it the other day.
okay, well, I'll have to
The
make
whole
sure it's private again.
oh, okay,
Uh,
never mind. I was gonna ask if we could share it on the description of this
Nope,
video.
it's right there. AL live on Local 7 Lifestyles.
okay,
11,
well,
11
there it
years ago.
is. Well, there it is. Okay. I mean, I could, yeah.
No, you do not
It's
have to
it's
if you
not
don't want
bad.
to.
It's pretty funny.
No,
You are very awkward on
well,
TV.
yeah, I've never been on TV before.
Like,
What would
uh,
you do?
oh no,
all
I would
right.
be
No,
nervous. I would. I'm surprised you made it all the way through because I would just clam up like, ice cream
Right.
sandwich. You know.
I mean, I may or may not have been practicing like that night before, like in
Oh,
my head,
yeah. Oh
just like,
no,
oh yeah,
I
just
would have. I would
running
have not
through
even been able to sleep the night before. I would
it.
have been just
Yeah.
dead from
What
anxiety.
I feel like
basically,
I do all right. You think
Oh
that's
yeah,
good?
yeah.
Chris, you'd be fine, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Go on.
Again, with I mentioned at the beginning, like me talking and like my public speaking, that's probably one of my worst classes in college was public
Hmm.
speaking,
Yeah.
because I do not like it at all. But that all came about because we had a guest cancel and they were gonna have a food segment, and I had brought that ice cream sandwich cake, as I deemed it, into work for everyone for the entire station. And our producer, also named Aaron, that's why it's called Al, because they call me Al at the station because we already had Aaron as a producer, so I was deemed Al. So,
Why didn't they
hey
go by your middle
Al.
name?
They just use the abbreviations of my name. It's like, hey
Yeah,
Al,
that works.
So yep, that now it's called Al. But they're like, hey, do you wanna like do this on for the cooking show? Like the lifestyles host asked me, like, just fear, came over, like,
Oh, for sure.
sure. And I'm like, oh fuck. It was like a Memorial Day. It was like a holiday, so it was very like like being able to get guests is very
Okay.
hard, especially on a holiday. So yeah, I did it, and oh man, I just like I can't stand how nervous, and so I buried it away in my YouTube, I thought, but
Nope.
yeah.
That's
Nope,
Fair.
I found it.
I mean, you've
Okay.
talked about it so much, I feel like we have to have it now for people to
Right. I
see it.
mean, we can link it if we really want to, but
It's not
If you
that
no,
bad,
you don't
Aaron.
have to.
Really, it's not that
I
bad.
think it's a lot of that judging. You're like, oh my God, look at me. Like, oh God, oh
Oh yeah,
God.
yeah. You're way harder on yourself than
Right.
because I watched it. I'm like, yeah, you're nervous, but it's not horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That was the same way with all my I'm sorry, I'm not being on a tangent here, but when I was in college, I started off and I had a radio show,
mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
nice.
I have all the voice recordings from that, but I will not share that with anyone either, just because because I'm just super critical on it's just like I can't stand to find my voice, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So,
Well, were you nervous about doing this ever? Or is it just because you know us, it was no big deal?
oh yeah, this is no big deal. If I was someone like, job interviews and stuff, I'm like,
Yeah.
hello, I'm Aaron. Hi,
All
um,
right. So I don't even remember if I asked this. Did I ask you about your worst job? Or
oh,
did I? I don't think I
we have
did.
not, we have
Okay,
not.
yeah. What was your worst job?
That would be when um when I first came up to Indianapolis, I was working as a part-time production assistant to get into a bigger station. And to supplement my income, I worked at the brand new established Amazon warehouse.
Oh God.
Oh yeah,
Oh
I remember
man.
Guys,
that. Yeah.
this thing, I've never seen anything like it. You walk in there. So basically, I was working the evening shift. I would work from 4 p.m. to about 11:30 and at night. And then I started a temp job at Amazon warehouse from midnight to 6 a.m.
Oh my God.
Holy moly.
Yeah, I was perfectly fine back then. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good to go. So this thing
Sounds
is
awful.
like about 2 or 3 football fields long and 3 stories high. My job was a picker. So I went with my gun and I got a yellow bin and I scanned it and like, oh, you need to go to aisle double Z section 0 bin 4. I'm like, okay. So then I run up, walk over, and I do remember my first pull. It was a black iPhone case. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So then I scan the row. Okay, it's in bin whatever. I go to the bin. The entire bin is filled with black phone cases of every variety.
Oh my
It's
god.
not like, oh, only iPhone cases in
Right,
here.
right.
It had to be at least 100 of them, at least in this crate. Probably like a, t- a foot by 2 feet, maybe bin. And mind you, that these bins are about 10 high by like 20 wide in every aisle, multiplied by, multiple football fields.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, I sat there for about 10 minutes just looking because there's like Android, this phone, LG phone, this phone, this phone. I'm like, oh my God. And finally, I just grabbed in the back left corner and pulled one out. And there it was. So I'm like, I scanned it. I'm like, success. And I put it in the bin. I'm like, that literally took me 15 minutes. If I wasn't a like temporary employee, I'm like, you're fired. Because they actually have like they have to make a like picking rate quota almost, but not for the temp people for holidays. So,
Oh,
um,
that's good. That's crazy.
that place, I mean, it got me my exercise, but so another thing that pissed me off, I'm going to a tangent, but
Do
It
it.
happens.
um, so we would get a half-hour break, and
Yeah.
basically it started on a dime. So like say I was working that 12 to 6, it would be at 3:30 in the morning. So at 3:30 in the morning, I put my gun, I'm on break. Wherever I am in that warehouse, I can walk back to the front of the building, go through the metal scanners, take off my belt, make sure I'm not stealing anything, sit down for 5 minutes, and then you have to go back and be at your gun at the end of the break. So basically, you just got a 5 minute break.
That's insane.
Because
Damn.
it would take me 5 to 10 minutes to walk to the break room, get through security, sit down, have partial of a sandwich. Like, oh wait, I gotta get back to my gun, so I have to go back through security and walk all the way back.
Oh my
So it's like
God.
you never really got breaks. Uh, but yeah, the things that I've seen people order, I.
Oh, I
Well, I'll
bet.
just do
I
one of them.
bet.
One of them is very expletive that I can't really describe. Or I mean, we can
Well,
all
why
kind of
not?
guess. I mean,
Oh.
okay. I mean, all right. Why not? All right. We can edit this out. If we
We're
don't
not
mind
going
it.
to, but
But
yeah, I'll say I will.
okay.
Yeah.
So I had a scan and it just came up KGDG. I'm like, okay.
KGDD?
KGDG.
DG.
Dog.
Okay.
So and that's all the description was. I'm like, huh? I'm like, okay. And they gave me so I went to the bin, I found it, I'm scrolling around, and I found this big white bag. And I'm like, what is this? I scan it, I turn it over, it says King Dong 12 inch. I'm like, oh, that's not very discreet. And to label it says King Dong. It was
King
discreet.
dog.
It was just the King Dong, the 12 incher. Yep. Yep. That was
Uh,
my second most memorable poll.
Uh, there
But
you
yeah,
go.
that was I'm
well,
like,
what was your most memorable then?
okay, real quick.
Good
Okay, so
question.
basically, I found the bin, and then I just said head. I'm like, head. Okay, so I'm looking through this bin, and it's like eye level mostly, and it's kind of one where you just scoot things out of it. It's like bigger items. I'm scooting, and bam, a face is right in my. I'm like, holy shit! Like I like freaked out. I'm like, what is? It was a practice head for hair. Like when you
Oh,
Oh,
put you
okay.
wig, but it was someone set it up to be staring. It was put behind things, so you just reveal a face, and it scared the living shit. So I literally grabbed the head and put it in my bin and scanned it, and that was it. But the factor that someone set that up, the people that put the things there, and it made it
yeah.
like a shocking reveal. I'm like, oh my God, but yeah, it scared the little
Good stuff.
bejesus out of me. But
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. All right. So I got this next question here. Brad, this one could also be for you if you want to answer.
Okay.
But this one is, do you have any good getting fired stories? Thought of the famed George Costanza. He's got a lot of good getting fired stories. You ever have one where you maybe you or you quit, a good quitting story? Like, you know what, fuck this. I blah blah blah, and I left. For me, I don't really have one per se. Mine was I failed a test intentionally, knowing it was cost me my job, and they gave me a severance package, and we all kind of pretended like it was serious business. Um, that one was probably my best. But if you don't, that's all right. We can move on. But
No,
I figure I'd ask.
yeah, I never quit a job like on the spot. And I should have been fired a couple times, but I didn't. Like Aaron, you had mentioned something that I never talked about my working at Burger King.
oh yeah,
My
yeah,
my whole selling the what were they, Star Wars Episode 3 toys. I was stealing them and selling them on eBay.
that is correct. Yes.
I looked those up now. The Star Wars Episode 3 Burger King toys. You can buy a whole set on eBay for $35.
There you
Oh.
go.
But it was like the Darth Vaders, especially. They were rare. There were only like 5 per box, and each box had like 50 toys. So
Oh
I was
wow.
taking those, and I took like one of all the other ones and would sell whole sets. And
Huh.
eventually, Big John caught me because I think he noticed the toys were missing. He was on eBay, and I think he found my page. It wasn't my name, it was my username, but it was like Wanata, Indiana, and all these auctions for Episode 3 toys. And I had sold it was like a 12 by 12 mirror with this band Opeth, their O symbol etched. I did it in art class and I sold it on eBay. But you could see my
All right.
reflection in it, or at least
Oh,
most of me. And he's like, Brad, is that you? I'm like, God damn it.
oh.
So what he did, I don't know how much money I made. Probably like, I don't even know, $300, $400. He made me pay back like $250 in Whoppers. Like I rang up so many Whoppers to add up to like 250 bucks, and I paid it. So what did he
That
say? He
seems
said
kind of
like it.
shady.
Yeah, that all that money I made gets put back into the company. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I
that's
think he
like a
told me like
what
it's
is it,
either that or you get
laundering.
fired or he calls the cops or something. He threatened me somehow.
Oh, okay.
Then he was just like, "Don't do it again," and he like smacked me on my back, like my shoulder.
Mhm.
Huh.
So, so I should have been fired there. I should have been fired at the
Just
hospital, but
fine.
that's a whole story I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, no problem.
So,
That's funny though. Aaron, do you have a good getting fired story or a good
I
quitting story?
yeah, I never been fired. I I don't. I think the only time I really just kind of just dropped off was the Amazon job. Basically, it was like the day before Christmas, like one of the busiest days, and you're like, no, fuck this, I'm not going anymore. I just stopped going. Didn't say anything. Don't tell anyone.
you pulled an
Just
office
Yeah.
space.
yep.
You just
And then
stopped going.
by that time, my manager at the TV station said I would be going full time in like the beginning of the year.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
So
nice. So it was a
so
Christmas miracle.
it was a Christmas miracle. I'm like, fuck this. I'm not going. And like the just the worst day to screw them over.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
That's
just
the way to do it. Good job. Actually, just thought about it. I did quit Subway too because I got a nickel raise. after being there for a year. Because the lady who came back hated my guts. She didn't want to hire me in the first place. And
Right. Yeah.
customer complained. Yeah, mine was just a post-it note. Dear Sue, I quit.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't think you mentioned that on the first episode.
Yeah, that's what I did. And I just went and worked at Walmart. All right. How many of your coworkers became friends, Aaron? Any lifelong friends, coworkers?
Yeah. In that morning show is where I met my current roommates.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Um, and they all moved up to got a job. Well, my friend Josh got a job at Indianapolis, which caused a chain reaction of everyone else to get a job at reaction. So I'm like, I'm not staying down here. So we all moved to Indianapolis together, and then
Nice.
so yeah, we still hang out. We still interact
S-
daily and all that stuff.
Still,
So
still live together. Yeah.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
So
Your roommates are awesome, Aaron. By
yeah,
the way,
yeah.
if they're
Shout,
listening,
shout out to
hey
Laura
guys.
Mel. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully they listen. Well, if they don't, I understand. As I say, have you ever hung out with coworkers outside of work? Is the next question, but obviously you do because you
Uh-huh.
live with some. So
Uh-huh.
we can just move on from that one. Do you have any funny, crazy, weird stories of coworker get-togethers? Everyone gets together. Like for me, my very first time ever getting together with coworkers from Target, I was nervous. And a cousin that I never really saw was up, cousins, I should say. One of them gave me a little nugget of weed, and I smoked it and drove to allegedly a place where they were all hanging out. And I did not realize how much that little bit was going to affect me because I hadn't smoked in forever. And I was incredible. When they all saw me, my eyes were like red as hell, glazed over. Everyone knew, but it ended up being like a fun time. So I spoke more on that last time I talked about it, but just something like that. Um, I've had crazier for sure. But any stories, Aaron, that you can think of that you want to share at least?
Oh, I'm pretty sure this happened. Yeah. Okay.
Sure, this happened.
Well, I had to think about it first. I'm trying to figure out which job it was. So when I first started in production in Evansville, my first TV job, I was also working a second job at what was called Casino Astar, the casino in Evansville.
Okay.
I was a promotions rep, so I was the guy you went to
Oh
for a free
yeah.
play. Oh, why am I getting nothing? Y'all are a bunch of bastards. I'm like, loosen up these machines. They're taking all my damn money. I was basically the brunt of all the angry
Um.
old people.
What was that? The job where you ran into Weird Al?
I but oh yeah, because he was playing. He walked through the casino
Yeah.
because he was playing Evansville. So yeah, that is correct. I forgot about that. Wow.
You
How
met
could you
Weird
forget
Al?
about that?
I mean, you're just like, oh, there he is, and he just walked by. It isn't like he stopped or anything.
Oh, I
So
see. I see.
Oh well, yeah, but didn't you say hi to him and he was like, "Hey," and as he
oh
walked
yeah,
by?
'cause I was working with a line of people, and he walked I'm like, Weirdo, and he's like, he's like really high poised. I'm like, oh my god. So, but yeah, that was it. He said
Nice.
hi to me. So, what was I talking? Oh yeah, worked again. I was like, what was it? So me and a lot of the Tropic, it was Casino Astor at the time, but they became Tropicana Evansville, because we got bought out numerous times. Now I think it's Bally's Evansville or something. But
Gotcha.
me and the group of people got the winner, and we went to get a very popular Mexican restaurant, Los Bravos down there. It was very, very, you know, the one you would always go to in Evansville. And
Right.
after several rounds of margaritas, we decided to go to the budget, I would say, strip club in Evansville. It is called the Busybody Lounge. If
Okay.
everyone from Evansville knows that place,
Shout out to the Busybody Lounge.
shout out to Busybody Lounge. They had a cover of $1 that night. One whole dollar. We
Uh,
were the only ones in there for good reason. And it was like probably like six of us, I think. So it was just like drinking and just like having chit chat. Like it was just
It's
it was like
called the Busy Body Lounge,
the
and you guys are the
busybody.
only ones in there.
Yes, that is correct. It was like a Thursday night. It was like no one there. So like yeah, I don't remember many shenanigans because there was just like so many drinks, but just
Mhm.
it was a good time. It was probably one of my favorite times going out. But yeah.
Uh, yeah. You ever date anyone from work? Yeah. How'd that work out? Are you
Oh,
still together?
oh goodness. Yes, I have. I dated someone and lived with a coworker that I worked with the casino.
Okay.
And we were just roommates, me and her. But then, one evening led to another, and but then she became a little insufferable. So I wanted to get the
Mm.
hell out of that apartment as fast as I could.
Yeah.
But that did not end well. But we're still not, very spiteful toward each other. But we still talk randomly and see how she's doing. But
Yeah.
um. I dated another one in production in Evansville. She just had some physical features that were ideal for me, but then
Gotcha.
nothing really had nothing else happened after that. She basically moved away. I'm like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Um,
Gotcha.
what else? Let me think. I'm sure there's another one. Da, 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 da. Oh, I did date one person from my Indianapolis job. But then, like, we went on like 2 days, things are going cool, and then she's like, "Yeah, I don't think this is working randomly at my favorite restaurant." I'm like, "Ooh,"
Mm.
What
but
restaurant
yeah,
was that?
at the time it was Metro Diner,
Oh
I was
god,
hoping you
that
were saying like
fucking
TGI
place.
Fridays or something.
right? Oh no, yeah, Chili's. Me and the Chili's,
Chili's.
me and Chili's go
Metro
way back.
Metro Diner, wasn't it where Tran worked
That was
when he was in
correct when
Indy?
it was
Yeah.
good. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I
He's a
I'm
dream guest, Turan. Turan is
Oh
a dream
god, that would
guest.
be incredible.
Yeah. I want him to. I'd love him to do this. One
Oh,
of these episodes. I think that'd be great.
That random time I went to Indy, Aaron,
yep.
we went to Metro Diner and
And
Tran was there
there,
and
yep.
we caught up.
Uh, that him and Timmy. I think that'd be good.
Oh
Oh
god.
yeah.
We need both of them at the same time.
Oh God, I don't think we
You're
can handle it.
nuts.
It'd
Um,
just be you, Chris, and then Timmy and Turan, and you'd have to corral the two of them somehow.
oh,
It would be awesome. Be fucking chaos. It'd be amazing.
yes, yes, it will be. I'm actually, I'll talk to Turan. I'm sure he'd be interested. It's just a matter of actually getting him to do it.
Right,
All
right.
right, Aaron, we're going to move on to more of a reflective section of these podcast episodes. So, when you were younger, did you have anything that you wanted to do? What did you want to do when you were younger? Was it be a, what do you call it? What did you call it? A control master?
I'm massive, basically, control.
Yeah.
Like how young we talking? Like
Um,
kindergarten?
sure, when you
Yeah,
were
like
old enough to
childhood.
realize that you were going to have to do something and what you wanted to
Oh,
do.
Like I wanted to be a scientist
Right.
because of Bill Nye
Exactly.
the Science Guy sort of thing.
oh, I mean, I'm sure when I was a wee lad, I, made a lot of bold claims. I'm gonna be the president. I'm gonna be a veterinarian. I don't know, I guess
You
when
wanted to be president?
I mean, when who doesn't want to be president?
Yeah.
When you're
Well,
a wee lad. Uh, I guess
This is true.
when I was thinking about work seriously, I mean, the thing is, like, I went to college blind. Like, I had no clue. I
yeah.
initially went to college in the business wing of they call it the LLC, the Living Learning Communities. Basically, everyone with the same majors would be grouped up on a floor together, have like specific stuff tailored to that.
Right.
I did like business like 101 and like this shit's boring. But on reflecting side, I should have stuck with it because it probably would have been a lot more financially rewarding. But
Yeah.
um I was taking a random class and basically stumbled upon RTV, radio television stuff. I'm like, okay, and that's where I kind of went from there. But yeah, I had really no clue. Part of me during that first semester was like, I kind of like, maybe I should be an eye doctor, an optometrist.
Yeah.
That seems
Mm.
cool. Looked into that. Those science classes, I'm like, I'm out. Nope. And in the extra school, I'm like, no, I'm out.
Yeah.
Basically, nowhere. I was, just kind of just throwing my thoughts into random majors and see if this works. And like, yeah, this wouldn't work. Yeah, this wouldn't work until I found that. So
That's the way you got to do it, I think.
yeah,
Um, when you're in high school, you had no thoughts on like what you wanted to do, you know, post high school, or was it
not
just, get out of high school and then you'll figure it out from there?
that is correct. I literally applied for college just because one of my friends did, and just like, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm probably not gonna get in. I didn't study for the SATs. I didn't do any of that. And he was like, ah, whatever, we'll figure it out. And I'm like,
Yeah,
you've been accepted. I'm like, what? I'm like, I guess I'm gonna go because why wouldn't I?
yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Do you have a plan for retirement? Something that you want to do in retirement?
Um,
Retire at all?
retirement. Yeah. That would be the first step. I have expensive hobbies that I like to spend my money on rather
Would
than
you mind if I
save
ask what
my.
those are, or would you
Sure.
go to disclose?
Co-
I have
concerts.
Does it
concerts.
involve the KGDG or whatever the hell that was?
Oh no, no,
The
not that.
12-incher? No.
12 incher. Oh, Eduardo, as he called him. Oh no.
Eduardo.
Uh, I I bought like a $2,500 PC 2 years ago. I
Yeah.
own multiple drones. I have GoPros. See, two guitars, guitar software. Jeez, motorcycle gear. I mean, yeah. I have plenty of things that I can occupy my brain with. So, just to drown out the retirement. So, yeah.
Aaron's the opposite of me. He spends all of his money, and I'm like an old miser who hoards all of his money.
Yep.
That is correct.
Yep.
Brad is
I take after our
substantially
dad.
wealthier than me. Yes.
I take after our dad, and then
Yeah.
Aaron is like our Aunt Connie, who's like,
Yes.
"Oh fuck it, just spend money, spend it. Who cares?"
Now that on a I think what kind of as aggressive as I am with my spending habits now, they were basically bottlenecked out of college because I had no money and I had yeah, basically I had no
Yeah,
money. All my credit cards were maxed out. I was barely getting by. The Aflac job wasn't working. And then it wasn't until I got my TV job and then moved up and moved up, I was able to pay off my credit cards. So basically, in that
It's
fact,
a
I
big deal.
spend I spend all my money that I have. But like I don't ever go in debt for things. Like
That's
I
good.
won't
yeah,
use I will not use a credit card just because I being maxed out on three credit cards, not being able to survive was horrible.
Yeah.
So I guess that's one of the things. And like I use it for like specific situations, and then I'll pay it off the next month.
yeah.
Yep,
Mhm.
That's what I
yep,
do. I mean, I buy everything with my credit card and pay it off
right.
immediately. And my credit card has a $20,000 limit, so
Jesus.
see that in your hands, Aaron, that would be disaster, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe the old me, yes.
Yeah, maybe yeah, the old you for sure, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, there's
But
like
It
motor.
leads me to think, what can I buy for 20,000
yeah, just
Oh my
max.
God, I would.
immediately?
I freak out after it's like if my balance is like $200. I'm like, oh god, I gotta pay
I
it
am
off,
the
pay it
same.
off, pay it
Yep,
off.
I
Okay,
am the
good,
same.
good.
Yep.
So you've learned some sort of financial responsibility now.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
All right, Aaron, what do you think of the viewpoint that people are forced to work until they're too old to enjoy life? Do you think that's true in some aspects or
100%.
100%?
That's why I'm spending all my money now.
Yeah, good idea.
Oh
Basically,
well,
that's one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
things I'm like, why would I? That's one of the things like, why would I hope and miss out on things potentially now where I'm able to walk and move freely and all these things to be at a chance of surviving to 65, 60, well, like 70 by the time we are able to retire now, but um but then like just at a chance, I'm healthy enough to just not do anything.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go to the concerts, I'm gonna go to my festivals, I'm gonna buy all the cool things I want and live now, and I'll worry about then even if it's still working probably at this point, but
Right. Do
Yeah, it's like
people? Oh, sorry.
uh, oh
Go
no,
on,
I'm
Brett.
just retirement age is like 67. So like Aaron has all these cool experiences, he spends all of his money, and then me at 67 might be like bedridden or something, and
Right.
I have like $500,000 in my bank account. Like,
Right.
oh, I wasted my life.
Or, that's the scenario in my life. Like, why? Like, oh, why? Oh, yeah, I don't want to, like, oh, when I turn 67, it's gonna get real bitchin', real sweet,
No, it won't. Yeah.
Like, what? You took an arrow to the knee, and you'll never be the same.
Right, right. It's like I have all this money, but I can't do anything
I
with it.
can't walk, I can't hike.
Yep.
All this. So I just don't want to risk that. So,
Right, fair enough. No, that's good.
Yeah. Brad will be bedridden, but his bed will be made out of cash.
Yes,
right.
that's right.
But a bathtub full of
Might as well
quarters.
be wiping my ass with all that money.
Scrooge McDuck. It's like a
Oh, it's
decrepit
solid.
Scrooge
Yeah,
McDuck.
yeah.
God. Do people need to work in order to mentally function in a civilized society? Meaning, some retirees go back into the workforce because their life felt directionless, aimless. They often describe retirement as boring. John, from our last episode, disagreed with this sentiment. He believes that most people go back, get out of retirement because of financial, because they can't, they don't have enough to survive, so they have to go back. And as it isn't really boring, it's just out of necessity. Very good point. Very well could be the case. What do you think,
Uh,
Aaron? Or is this
I
too much?
mean,
That's kind of a loaded, not really
yeah,
loaded.
well,
Just it's a lot of
I agree with John in that point that, I feel like a lot of people go back just for, they were in my position. They're not doing very much to, avoid that situation.
yeah,
When they get there, like, oh man, I rolled the dice and, rolled in, 18 out of 20. I'm like, I survived. Um, um, then I could see where it's like, oh, I'm bored because I'm like, oh, I had this same 8-hour block in a day that I was, doing something, and taking that away could be like a mental thing, but I would easily find something to do
right,
for those extra, like, a retirement. I'm like, I would be set.
right.
I would traveling, I'd be doing
Mm-hmm.
this, taking my
Yep.
drones I have an army of somewhere,
Yeah.
buying a 9,000 series GPU for my graphics card, I mean for my
See,
computer.
seeing like I don't know Metallica in their 90s or
Right, just
whatever.
the Decrepit
Geriatric.
Bones
Just
tour. Yeah.
Yeah.
fucking Hetfields on an iron lung. They just
Yep.
put him up
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, just basically.
Frantic Doc. Yeah, that
Oh
sort of
God,
thing.
Yeah.
the Saint Anger 50th
Anniversary
anniversary
tour.
Yeah, play the whole album. Come on.
I remember when back in my day this came out.
My lifestyle determines my destiny.
And then he dies.
Then he dies. Like, well done.
Well done.
Yep.
Yeah, he says.
Bravo.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a little bit of both.
gotcha. Yeah, it's probably
But yeah,
fine.
I definitely agree. It's more financially based than boredom, I believe. So,
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say there's my next bullet point here is also a financial aspect of retirement. Some are able to save more than others. Do you think about retirement and what you need to do in order to survive after you've reached retirement age more than you used to? Not at all the time.
um, as it's, getting somewhat closer, I've thought about it once or twice. And I've looked at my Amazon shopping list, and I'm like, that sounds better.
Right.
But
Yeah,
but
you are the perfect consumer.
yeah, I
Our
consume
capitalist
things.
society thanks you.
Yes, keeping the wheels turning and all.
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
You got the economy on your back, and you're
yeah,
carrying it.
We thank you. We thank you.
yeah.
All right. One more question here. Any advice for someone entering the workforce? Young kids, just fresh out of high school, or maybe just still in high school, someone who's entering the workforce for the first time. Is there any piece of advice that you'd wish you'd had, or knowledge that you wish you'd had before you ventured out, or uh, anything you could add, to help them out? Anything you could think of.
Okay. I would say avoid college at all costs. Unless you have a very better clear. So basically, don't go to college. You have no idea what you want to do.
Right on.
Even have a basis of what you kind of do. You can. A lot of people change their majors. Many people do, like I did. And uh, if you're gonna go for the college, make it the most educational thing ever. Rather
Mhm.
than let's see what's happening. Well, again, at my generation was very forced. Like you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to do this. They had college recruiters coming to high school all the time. Um, if I could really, yeah. And then if you are in college, I hope if you learn some basic life skills. They do not teach you, how at the time, checks were still a thing, like how to write a check, change a tire, do your taxes, like
Yeah.
anything. There is like
Hmm.
literally like it's book work all the time. So you have no theory, like, what's a 401k? What's all these things, because when you get thrown into the workforce, I'm like, oh, what does health insurance do? How does this work? Like nothing. So, it's kind of like a weird, like hollow shell they leave you out. Like, here you go, have fun. Don't guarantee your job, nothing like that. But yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like they need to
Yeah.
teach you that shit in high school.
I do
Like
agree that there's,
everyone,
yep,
like just on the chance you
senior,
don't
yep.
go to college,
Mm-hmm.
basic life skills. Like
Now,
like
True.
like, like our dad saying like, "Oh, I borrowed so much against the house for collateral and the blah and the
Yeah.
mortgage reverse mortgage." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like,
Right? Yeah, it's like,
first mortgage. Yeah.
well, I don't know. It wasn't that, but it was like
right.
a bunch of weird terms that our dad knows and
Oh,
he
the
uses
the
and
Yeah.
he
home the
knows.
home equity line of credit.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yep,
The
that's
home.
it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, Dad?
Yeah, I agree. The
For sure.
that
Somehow he knows all about it. He probably taught himself, I assume.
oh, I'm sure it just
Well,
came up in talking. Yeah.
I'm wondering about it because I wonder if they did teach people that in schools at some point. Like they have civics and ethics class, you have home ec and shop and all that
That's
stuff.
true, and then we just didn't
Hmm.
listen.
Well, there's that, and I'm pretty sure most of those classes just get nixed. They get cut away.
They get phased
Mm,
out,
They
especially.
get
yeah,
Yep.
phased
yeah.
out exactly for uh, mathematics and English. And just to keep you literate and able to do simple math, will keep the capitalist machine running. And as long as Aaron's
Well,
around, that'll definitely keep it oiled.
yeah,
Um,
you're welcome.
Indeed.
absolutely. But it could be something like that, where we used to have, and that's true. You point that out that even if they were to bring those classes back, the likelihood that any of those kids are actually even going to pay attention, something to know.
It's just
Um,
like
yeah.
one thing to add there is like high schools now have like I saw when I was visiting back home like my now high school that I got absorbed. They have like a um drone team and like robotics and stuff. All these cool things that were never a thing when I was in high
Oh
school.
yeah. Oh
It
yeah.
Oh
was
yeah,
just
for
like
sure. Yeah.
crazy. I'm like,
It it probably replaced what? Woodworking? Well,
yep,
what was that?
shop.
Shop, yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Shop was cool. I liked Shop. Mr. Sarver.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yep, yep.
saw him like 3 months ago.
Oh my
Oh
god,
no,
he's still
shit.
alive?
That's what I said. Um, I said, I can't believe you're still alive, Mr. Sarver. He said, who the hell are you?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Actually, it was funny because it was, I will on to you real quick, but yeah, when I was at work and the guy came in to get his like fob reprogrammed or something, and that's what I got to do. And I realized, I look at him, I was like, God, he looks familiar. And then I see his name, it says George Sarver. And I was like, oh my God, it's Mr. Sarver.
Yeah.
And he used to say things like, break googly boogly, and stuff like
Yep,
that.
yep, yep.
Assume the position, right? So I walk into the building after going outside to like start the programming for his fob. I asked the lady out in his car, did he used to teach shop at one? She said, yeah, 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 okay. Yeah, he's a former teacher of mine. Oh, okay. And so I walk in the building and I'm like, great googly boogly, that car, it's going to take a little while to get that thing programmed. And he doesn't say anything to me. And I was just like, so I walk back behind the counter and then I start just saying to no one in particular, the class that I really liked in junior high was that shop class there. I love that teacher there. Wonder what that guy's up to. And he looks up from what he's doing. He looks over at the counter and he's like, "What's your name?" I said, "Chris." He's just like, "Oh, okay, yeah." I don't
That's
remember you.
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, he,
yeah.
he always
Dang,
called me Mr. Larson.
Mr. Lord.
Uh, yeah. He was a good teacher. I enjoyed his classes.
Yeah, so
I
did
enjoyed
I.
his
Yeah, it
classes.
was cool.
All right. Well, thank you, Aaron. Thank you for all that. Anything else you want to add or say? If not, we'll end it here. Very good. It's interesting. You started off kind of like the same like everyone else, is like fast food. We got McDonald's, which leads
Mhm.
to, death and, that all that stuff.
Yes, that
And then we
often
got
sinks
Burger
in.
King again. Everyone's working at Burger King. Um, but then you went to college, so you had something different to say. Uh, I don't know anybody else that works in your field. You're the only person I know. So it's really neat to get a behind the scenes sort of
Yes,
deal.
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah. But thank you. All right. And with that, I hope you enjoyed listening to our conversation and will join us again for another installment of History with Hersafat. Don't forget to hydrate, exercise, and to like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. All these things are essential for your health and well being. Take care of yourselves and each other.